What's up, everybody? We are live. You are live. I am live. You are looking live. Charlie Marlow here, talking some college football on the Charlie Marlow YouTube channel and podcasted at Kenny Wallace Media. Hope everybody's having a great start to their week. Tuesday, we're going to call it a start still. And there's been a lot of talk in the old college football world lately about preseason polls. I'm sure you've heard a ton of discussion about this because, of course, the fact that especially this year's college football preseason poll was so wrong, or appears to be so wrong here as we are approaching week 7. Most teams have played 5, 6 games, whatever it is, right? Most teams have played 5 games. So it's interesting, though, because you look, I'm going to go back to the preseason poll, AP preseason poll, and it was released, I believe, I looked this up, August 11th. Number 1, Texas. We're going to talk about Arch Manning. Number 2, Penn State. Number 3, Ohio State. Okay, pretty good there. I know I'm biased as a Buckeyes fan. Number 4, Clemson. Yikes. Then you got number 5, Georgia. You got Notre Dame. You got Oregon. You got Alabama, LSU, and Miami, rounding out the top 10 of the preseason poll, which again came out about 2 months ago or so, right there in early to mid-August. Let's now go to the most recent poll. And this is AP I'm talking. So we had the preseason poll. This is now week 7. So we've had 8 polls. And there's my Buckeyes, 5-0, number 1. They got 40 first place votes. Miami, the U, number 2, 21 first place votes. Oregon, number 3, 5 first place votes. So let's give the voters some credit there, especially with the top 3. All 3 of those teams were very highly ranked: Ohio State, Miami, Oregon. Then you got Ole Miss, you got Texas A&M right now at 5, Oklahoma, Indiana. I'm not buying Indiana as the number 7 team in the country. Alabama 8, Texas Tech 9, and Georgia 10. So I've been hearing all the talkers and reading articles and all that, and a lot of folks are basically saying that we got to get rid of the preseason polls. Preseason polls are stupid. Preseason polls don't make any sense. You don't know anything. There's too much player movement with the portal and everybody transferring all the time. It's not good information. And guess what? I agree with those folks 100% in the fact that the preseason polls, they're stupid. But guess what? They're fun also. They're part of the fabric of college football and always have been. It gives us something to talk about. All right. Oh, this team's ranked. This is a ranked win early on. Now, here's the disclaimer. What we need to get away from is buying so much into the preseason poll that it has effects 2-3 months later when we've seen now 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 games, and we have all the data points from all the games. Now, there's always going to be a little bit of, okay, this team beat this team week 1, week 2, when the team was ranked. Maybe there was some injuries after that. Whatever happened. I do think teams change along the way. Teams improve. Teams get worse. Teams have more to play for. Teams have less to play for. Again, you have injuries and all that. At the end of the day, though, my point is the preseason polls, they're fun. It gives us something to talk about. Yeah, they're pretty stupid. They don't mean a lot. They usually get it about 2/3 right. Maybe 3/4 right. I think most recently that there's 8 teams in the preseason top 25 that have dropped out of the poll. But I think the reason everybody obviously is talking about it so much right now, it wasn't just 8 teams or however many teams are no longer in the poll. It's the fact that the big dog teams we're talking top 5 teams, are no longer even ranked. And I mentioned those teams, but you got Texas, you got Penn State. Texas was 1, Penn State 2, Clemson number 4. But here's the other part about this. I always like to put myself in the shoes of the voters. Are you that mad? Were you that mad that Texas was ranked number 1? Now I'll say this. Arch Manning so far has been completely overrated. Maybe more overrated than any player I can remember because he was so hyped up. So that's where I think it was fair to say you hadn't seen enough from Arch Manning, who's running the show. We all know the quarterback is the most important position in football and all of sports. You hadn't seen enough of Arch Manning versus top competition week in, week out to have Texas number 1. I think that's fair. But you look at Texas last year, they get to the Final Four, they lose to Ohio State, they're returning a lot of talent. I don't have a lot of issue with Texas being number 1 because of the roster. But again, Arch Manning unproven. Penn State, same deal. Penn State gets to the Final Four. They're returning its quarterback. They play Notre Dame in the Final Four. They're coming back. Obviously, James Franklin, this has been following him for years. And ever since he's been at Penn State, he can't win the big one. Penn State ranked number 2, though. I mean, I never thought Penn State was going to be better than Ohio State. But again, I don't have a ton of problems with that. Clemson, the way Clemson finished last year, that, I know this is hindsight, but you can kind of see where that's going, where that was a bit of a reach. And also, Dabo Swinney, who had things rolling there. If we're talking 7, 8 years ago, Clemson, the best program in football for a couple of years there, right there with Alabama. I mean, Alabama was always the best program overall under Saban, but we did a live stream a couple weeks ago where whatever the period of time was for Clemson, I think it was about 2015 to 2020, where they were finishing the year top 5 or top 4, whatever it was, every single year, including 2 national championships with 2 different teams, 2 different quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence. But obviously Clemson this year, they're not playing like the Clemson of 7 or 8 years ago. So when you look at the movement also, how about the Missouri Tigers? That's quite a game coming up. 5-0 Missouri. Mizzou is ranked number 14 in the country. And they're hosting Alabama, number 8. Alabama 4-1 on the season. That's going to be a fun game to watch this coming Saturday. All right. Let's talk a little bit, too, about Arch Manning again. And I don't like to pile on the kid. I'm not a hater. But I will say this. Clearly, the dude was super hyped. He was in all the commercials. He's got the Manning name. He's got the bloodline. He was great in high school, obviously. He was pretty dang good in his couple starts last year. I believe one was a non-Power 4 team. I think the other one was Mississippi State. Correct me if I'm wrong. I looked that up. I believe that's the case. Here's the deal. And I like to be 100% honest with you guys. What I've watched of Arch Manning besides highlights was I watched that entire Ohio State game. And as a Buckeyes fan, I didn't just watch it. I was locked in. And I was surprised at how bad Arch Manning played. He was skipping balls off the turf. He was throwing behind guys. He honestly looked rattled. His mechanics looked all janky. A lot of people have talked about that. But then there was excuses being made, and hey, Ohio State's got a great defense, maybe the best defense in the country. Matt Patricia was disguising all these coverages. I get that. All that's true. Still, to me, it looked like a rattled dude. It did not look like anybody who was the preseason favorite for the Heisman Trophy. I know Paul Feinbaum, they're showing the old clips of him saying that he's the greatest prospect ever, or the greatest recruit ever, whatever it was. And I'm just thinking, besides the Manning name, and I get it, and some great high school stats, what did Arch Manning do to deserve all of that? And let's go and look at his stats so far this year. But again, it's not just the stats. It's the eye test. Arch Manning, 81 of 135. So a 60% completion percentage, not great. 1,151 yards, 8.5 yard average, 11 tutties, 5 interceptions. Rushing, 43 carries, 160 yards, 5 touchdowns. We know he can run the ball as well. Been pretty decent, not necessarily dynamic. And then let's go back to last year, because he didn't play a ton, obviously. And okay, so he played what? He threw 5 passes as a true freshman, 2023. He threw 90 passes last year, 2024. 61 of 90, 68% completion percentage, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So again, those are good numbers. Those are good numbers for some spot work last year. And we'll go to his game log last year. As I said, I'm pretty sure, yeah. So he started versus University of Louisiana Monroe, and he started against Mississippi State. Now he got a lot of action versus some other teams. What is that? Texas San Antonio, threw 4 touchdown passes, because they're blowing some teams out. They're blowing some teams out. What is that? San Antonio 56-7. He got in versus Colorado State, Louisiana Monroe, as I said. But you just kind of look at that, and I'm just thinking to myself, why did we hype him up so much? And I get it. I get it. I get the name and all that, but and maybe something is off with the mechanics, because you see him kind of slinging the ball, sidearm and all that. It just does not look pretty whatsoever coming from Arch Manning. My St. Louis folks, got to tell you about my great sponsors. Triad Bank. Best thing I ever did for my rental property business was bringing all my commercial loans from a big national bank that didn't care about me right on over to Triad Bank in Frontenac. And let me tell you, I think I have 3 or 4 loans right now. Just closed out a loan with Triad Bank just last week. But it's relationship-based banking. I'm telling you, it's just the best thing you can do. You can do retail banking, but for commercial loans, Triad Bank is absolutely top-notch. And I cannot recommend my guy Matthew Tobin over there. I go to the Frontenac location. They're fantastic. Also, St. Louis Lawn Care, my guy Tim Jankerson, St. Louis Equipment. They do everything. I've had my lawn cut by STL Lawn Care, stllawncare.com, for about 5-6 years. They have STL Equipment, stlmowerrepair.com. If you want to buy a mower, if you want to get your mower repaired, they have all your small engine items and all that as well. And they have locations all over the place for St. Louis Equipment. I bought a Husqvarna blower. That's the fuel mix. I bought a Crest battery operated trimmer. They don't have the Crest brand anymore, but they have all kinds of great brands over there. For the fall, they can come remove your leaves. St. Louis Lawn Care can do that. You can buy blowers and all that. For the winter, you can get your salt there, your bulk salt. They do it all. And I'm just telling you, it's the place to go. St. Louis Equipment, St. Louis Lawn Care. My guy, Tim Jankerson, new location in DeSoto there in Jefferson County as well. All right, there you go. Quick video, quick live stream, about 14 minutes. College football, polls, preseason, they're dumb, but we shouldn't get rid of them because they're good for business and they're fun. And you know what? We have the real poll that matters. The college football playoff poll comes out, I believe it is November 4th. So most teams will have played about 8 games at that point. That's the one that really matters, November 4th. And that one makes a lot more sense. You know why? Because all of the hoopla of the preseason is gone. And you've seen these teams play 7, 8, 9 games. You can see some injuries. Who's overrated? Who's underrated? Who beat who? It makes sense. The college football playoffs, what matters anyway. Those rankings matter. You see all the games, and you're good to go. All right, there you go. Charlie Marlow signing off. Please give us a like. Please give us a subscribe. And again, hook up our sponsors, Triad Bank, St. Louis Lawn Care, and St. Louis Equipment. Thanks so much, everybody. Peace out. End stream.